Good morning. Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. My name is Erin. Thank you so much for joining me today. I was sitting here working in my planner and putting down my weather icons and realized that hurricane season is fast approaching. And with everything that was going on, I missed prepping for hurricane season this year. So May 3rd through 9th is National Hurricane Preparedness Week. If you live in the South, you know how important it is to be ready at a moment's notice. If you are new to the South, you may be a little bit confused or overwhelmed or not know what to expect going into your first hurricane season. So this video is going to go over some ways that you can prepare for severe weather. Now, you don't necessarily have to live in a Gulf state or along one of the coasts to benefit from this video. It's actually really great for areas that suffer all kinds of natural phenomenon that may possibly render you without power or cause an evacuation situation. So it's just a great way to kind of stay prepped. So while what I'm talking about is going to be geared towards hurricane preparedness, please keep in mind that some of these tips are great if you live in Oklahoma or Kansas, where there's lots of tornadoes and you may have to readily have information accessible. So I, over the years, have put together a list that I kind of go through. At this point, I've lived in Louisiana the majority of my life, so I kind of have it in my head, but I still like to reference it now and then, just so I can have access to it. So grab your favorite pen. That's not my favorite pen. Grab your favorite pen, your planner, some notebook paper. If you want, jump on over to the We Got a Plan Facebook group. I'll link it below. And I will upload this into the files section. So if you would like a reference point, you can download it. So first of all, it's knowing the difference in what the weather is. So knowing the difference between a watch and a warning is very important. Having supplies on hand for severe weather. I'm not gonna lie, we've gone through a lot of the supplies that we had on hand because of the shelter in place. And because of the shelter in place order, unfortunately, we don't have some of the things available that we would typically get. But you want to make sure that you have a gallon of water per person per day. So for a family of four for 5 days, you need approximately 20 gallons of water. Now, that doesn't mean run out and go buy 20-gallon jugs of water. This may be water that you get from the faucet that you're putting into containers to store for use later. As long as you hold the water in an airtight container, it's good for like 3 weeks or so. You also want to have a first aid kit, flashlight, toolkits, and sanitation products. A great sanitation product, a lot of times, I'm jumping ahead. A lot of times your water you'll be under a boil order and you'll need like disinfecting water, or you may not necessarily have water available. So if you put 6 drops of bleach to a gallon of water, which usually is water you stored in your tub, it'll make a disinfecting solution that you can use to wipe things down, that you can use to even, use a bar of soap to wash your hands, dip it in the solution to rinse them off, and then rinse them off again in this water. Or if you're under a boil order and you're using tap water to clean with, you can use 6 drops of bleach in it. Foods that you want to have on hand: dry cereal, canned goods, nuts, peanut butter bread, crackers, granola. You want to think about things that are going to be readily available and quick and easy to prepare, or even some things that you can prepare ahead of times. Check your rain gear, that kind of stuff. Make sure that you have an action plan in place for your pets. So on the first page, I kind of have a checklist of what it is that you want to have on hand. Now, to me, this page is the most important page there is. A lot of times during severe weather, during times of natural disaster, the power goes out and you may not be able to charge your cell phone. So how are you going to get a hold of that information that you need at a moment's notice? So I recommend having a paper list of names and phone numbers for your doctors, your family members. You know, I hate to say this, I don't know my kids' phone numbers. I really don't. That is so sad. And I know y'all are watching this, so I apologize. I do not know your phone numbers off the top of my head because I go to the quick dial in my phone to call y'all. So I need to have your phone numbers written down on a piece of paper. The other thing I recommend is having a digital copy of the list that you can upload to the cloud, that you can access from a remote location, or if you end up at a family member's house or even a hotel that has a business center with Wi-Fi, you can log in and grab that information if you lost that paper copy for some reason. So just having a backup is the word I was looking for, is really important. And some of the numbers you want to include: American Red Cross, FEMA, your local utility company phone number. You know, when I go to call the utility company, I'm so bad. I just go to the internet and I look the number up and I call it. I do have it stored in my phone now, but for a long time I didn't. So that's important. Also, you want to create a family meeting spot and print out maps. You know, for us, I-49 is an easy evacuation point, but if I-49 floods or gets closed for some reason, what are the alternate routes to get to where it is that we need to go? And I don't know all them back roads off the top of my head. You know, very few people really do. So it's a good idea to have paper maps. Even if you just go into Google Maps or to the map app on your phone and create alternate routes to locations that you may possibly be going to, print them out, put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the glove box of your car. Also, put them in a plastic bag inside your backpack, your emergency backpack that you use. So you have your alternate plans. Make sure you have plans for your pets. Make sure you have your pet's vet records. A lot of shelters won't take your pet without vet records or without being able to prove that they're current on their rabies shots and that they don't have any kind of communicable diseases that are going to affect other animals. And a car emergency kit. That's really important. You always want to keep a couple of gallons of fresh water in the car. You know, things like jumper cables, tow cables, a small toolkit, extra snacks, things like, I do like peanut butter crackers and stuff just in case you get stuck on the road a little bit longer than anticipated. Toilet paper and paper towels. You know, a roll of toilet paper in case you gotta pop a squat. Because, you know, we live in Louisiana. We know how to pop a squat. You're gonna pop a squat. You may have to. You never know. So you want things like that. Of course, a gas can. And then moist towelettes, just so you can kind of clean up if you need to. You want to have an emergency backpack. In that, you want to have, and you want this for all of them. Now, with small children and with senior adults who may not be, how do I put this in a good way? For senior adults who may become confused during an emergency situation, if you're a caregiver for somebody who may become overwhelmed or may not necessarily remember all of those details, put your plan on paper. Put their name, put your name, put your phone numbers, put where it is you need that person to get to. Put an alternate phone number for somebody who doesn't live in the area that the event is taking place. Laminate that. If you have to, hole punch it and tie it to them. Something where it's going to be safe and you're going to have that information in case you become separated. You know, Kids, even kids who know their phone numbers at 10, 11, and 12 years old may become overwhelmed and not know what to do if they get separated from a family member. You want that information. You know, unfortunately, during extreme weather, it's happened in the past where families get separated in a shelter, or they get separated in an evacuation moment, and you're looking for those family members. And this is a great way that that information is available and ready. So have that ready. Food safety. Look at, you know, what's safe to eat and what's not safe to eat. Frozen meats, you know, as long as there's still frozen crystals in the center of that meat, it's safe to prepare and eat. Refrigerated foods that's kept in an unopened refrigerator for 24 hours should still be cold and remain safe to eat. So don't be opening and closing that refrigerator. Leave it shut for as long as possible. Milk, disregard it after 2 hours. Just disregard the milk. It's not worth the risk. Fresh eggs, safe unrefrigerated for 5 to 7 days only. Discard them if the shells are cracked or if an odor or discoloration is present. Hard-boiled eggs, discard if held at room temperature for more than 2 hours. Water safety. Pay attention to your local authorities about the status of your water supply. Boil orders typically happen. Water that you saved in bottles before a storm should be good for up to 6 months if properly stored. To prevent the spread of disease, wash your hands frequently with disinfected water and soap. So that disinfected water is water with the 6 drops of bleach. Know the life cycle of a hurricane or of the storm. What are some of the things that you're going to do before the storm hits? You know, do you need to assign duties to certain family members? Who's going to go get sandbags? Who's going to take care of removing the patio furniture, securing windows? Is the storm severe enough that you need to take extra precautions that you traditionally wouldn't take with a tropical storm or normal weather phenomenon? Make sure that you have things in place. Don't leave your cars parked under trees. Make sure that your pool furniture is secure. Drop your pool furniture in your pool. You can always go and fish it out. Make sure you're bringing in your plants, flags, house ornaments. Make sure that you have plenty of flashlights and current batteries, usable batteries. I got stuck in a situation where the power went out and I thought I had batteries for a flashlight, and guess what? Yeah, they were all in the battery charger in the wall, uncharged. So how can I charge batteries if, you know, I have no power? So learn from my mistakes. Know when to consider evacuation from a hurricane. This is the absolute best advice I have for anybody and everybody. If you are put under evacuation order, you need to evacuate. If you stay, you are by yourself. There may not necessarily be the resources available to come and rescue you from the roof of your house. There may not be emergency medical assistance available to come and get you if somebody needs to be transported to a hospital. If you are under an evacuation notice, you should evacuate. It's not cool to stay. It's not thrilling to stay. It's not energizing to stay. If they tell you to evacuate, plan on there not being the resources to back you up if a devastating situation occurs. That simple. If it's a voluntary evacuation, be prepared. You know, I've stayed during voluntary evacuations because we were prepared. We had the resources available that we needed. We had the people available to help us in an emergency situation if we needed it. So that's a little bit different. But if you're under an evacuation notice, evacuate. Just do it. Don't even think about it. Grab your important papers. grab minimal amount of stuff and get the heck out of Dodge. Just do it. You know, after hurricane, you want to wait until it's safe to get back into the area. You want to make sure that you're making those important phone calls. You want to make sure that you're checking in with family members. Last summer before, when Florida got hit pretty bad, you know, it's nerve-wracking. You hear from a family member, you hear a tree split their house in half, and then they're MIA for 4 or 5 days, and you're like, okay, what's going on now? You know, it can be extremely trying for the rest of your family. So make sure that you're making contact with at least one person who can get the word out to others that are worried about you. That's important. And just remember, you know, it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be stressful for you, as long as you're prepared. And, you know, if you need help, reach out, ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, I'm new to hurricane season. What do I do? So hurricane season runs June 1st through November 1st, with the majority of the storms hitting in August. They do hit earlier. This year we've had 2 named storms before June 1st even got here. So just be ready. Do your research. Know what it is that you need to do. Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it become scary. It doesn't have to be. You know, as long as you have a plan in place, as long as you review that plan, and as long as you modify that plan as needed, then you're good to go. You know, don't stress over it. Not every hurricane is going to be devastating. Not every severe storm is going to be devastating. And then also remember, just because you don't live 30 miles off the coast doesn't mean you're not going to be affected by a storm. So when we first moved to South Louisiana, my husband was like all freaking out. And I'm like, you know what? Up in Shreveport, we got more tornadoes, more flooding, lots of wind, hail. Sometimes we got worse weather than when a Category 1 hurricane made land in, you know, not Ville Platte. Ville Platte's not on the coast. You know, Pecan Beach or somewhere like, or Holly Beach. Why did I say Pecan Beach? It's Pecan Island, Holly Beach. You know, we get those outer bands that get muddled and mixed in with other weather in the north. And then tropical storms can travel hundreds of miles inland and still pack a pretty good punch. Most hurricanes die when they hit that land shelf right off coast. But they can still be extremely devastating. So just be prepared. If you have tips that I have forgotten, please leave them in the comments. If you have ideas for quick and easy recipes, leave them in the comments. If you'd like a copy of the sheet, hop in the Facebook group, download it. It's not all my original content. Some of it's stuff that I've collected over the years off of other web pages that I've just kind of printed out or put down in books for a quick and easy reference. So until next time, remember, we all got a plan. We just all do it a little bit differently. Oh, and hit like and subscribe, please. If you'd like to see more videos from me, I greatly appreciate it. Thanks, y'all.